Dead by Daylight is a game that tries to emulate the slasher movies of the 80s, where four survivors try to escape a killer. It's known for its wide collection of playable horror icons, such as Chucky's from Child's Play, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Michael Myers from Halloween, and so many more. Like, seriously, even Nick Cage is in this game.
I still remember exactly who I am.
Some like to call it the Hall of Fame of horror, so speculation over the next crossover is always a fun topic to dive into. I collected 50 names I've seen tossed around a few times and added a few of my own personal favorites, and I'm going to rank them. Instead of a normal S to F rank, I've made some special tiers for this occasion. Full chapter, which is the whole shebang of map, killer, survivor, all the love that the developers can give them. Solo for a solo killer or survivor. Cosmetics, which is self-explanatory. Those are purchasable skins. Instead of making a new character, they will give a skin that makes you a new character. I want but won't happen. Pretty self-explanatory. And I don't think will happen, which, yeah, self-explanatory. I'm going to be ranking these with two criteria: likelihood and personal preference. And I think I picked the perfect one to explain that. First off, we have Jason Voorhees. Now, I love Friday the 13th. It's one of my favorite film franchises. Jason Voorhees for Friday the 13th. Unfortunately, he's been kind of in an illegal hell the last few years. Even his own game got shut down. And fortunately, he's coming out of that. If you've been seeing the Jason Universe stuff, I have high hopes for this guy. So as much as I would love to put him in the full chapter, get Camp Crystal Lake there, get Tommy Jarvis as a survivor, he won't be. That's because of legal issues more than what they can and can't do with him. Because like I said, you could put Tommy Jarvis in. There was a bunch of iconic characters throughout the series. Obviously, Camp Crystal Lake is iconic on its own. But with the Jason universe, it's very clear that they only have the licensing to Jason Voorhees himself. Thankfully, they have a lot of stuff behind Jason, it seems. If you've seen his portrayal in Multiverses, they can reference kills, they have his iconic mask, even Uber Jason from Jason X, which is hugely popular. So I think Jason is not only definitely coming to Dead by Daylight, I think he's going to be coming in March. And I would love to make a whole video about that. I think I could sit down and rant about how Jason fits this game like a glove, but maybe another time. Next up, we have Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Now, this movie's great. A lot of people love this movie. It's iconic for both the wrong and right way. People don't understand this movie. And it's because it's not just, oh man, he's so cool, he kills people, and he's such a Sigma grind set. No, it's making fun of you, my brother. It's always these kinds of people that, they get made fun of. And they don't realize it. It's really funny. As for Dead by Daylight, as iconic as, the raincoat and the axes, I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to happen. You know what, I kind of want it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I might explain it more as looking at some of these I've picked, I'm going to explain them more as I go along. But just dude with weapon, I don't think is enough to facilitate a Dead by Daylight character, right? And the team has done a lot with nothing, especially if you look at the Ringu chapter, Sadako the Onryo. All she does is really just stop your heart, right? And they got so much from that, right? So, Patrick Bateman with an axe, they could do a lot with him. I don't think he fits very well, if that makes sense. I just don't think he fits well with the theming of the movie. I think putting him in this game to see how awesome he kills kind of defeats the purpose of the movie, So, as much, I'm moving him back to, I don't want him, actually, now that I think about it. There's so many cool axe killers you can do, and one I have on this list that we will talk about later, but no, I don't think it'll happen. Now, stop beating around the bush. There's something I really don't want to happen. The Nun fucking sucks. The whole Conjuring universe fucking blows, and I don't understand why people like this shit. I think it's because it's like this Blumhouse, PG-13 horror, where younger kids watch it because it's the only stuff they can watch because they won't let them in the theater if it's R-rated. And it's the bare minimum. You get like a little bit of crumb, a little scary, just enough to be entertained. That's the best horror movie I've ever seen. That's the best movie I've seen because you only seen one, brother. The Nun especially sucks because it's just jump scares. It's nothing. I don't think the Nun themselves is scary. And I'm gonna also put Annabelle here. Fuck Annabelle. Annabelle isn't scary either. The whole Warrens mythos with all their but they're dead. I can say this. Their their con work of trying to scare Jesus into you. I hate that stuff. I hate it so much. It's the worst, and it's just not scary. And I just don't think it would fit in Dead by Daylight. It would be like if you're making a rock and roll Hall of Fame and you put like My Dad's Garage Band in, right? It's like, yeah, they make music, but it's not good music now, is it? Now, here's one I understand why people talk about is Terrifier, Art the Clown. It's because the creator of Art the Clown was very vocal on Twitter about how he wants Terrifier or Art, sorry, in the series. I don't know too much about Terrifier itself, but watching him on Twitter beg for it was so fucking fun. It reminds me of the one quote from the Overwatch dev or one of the Overwatch devs where they're like, "Oh man, you can use any Overwatch character you want in Smash Bros. Guys. You can take any of them. Please take what I am begging." I think his neediness makes me want it to not happen. Like if I had an opposite of I want it but won't happen, and like I don't want it and it won't happen, I want to put Art there. And like I haven't even seen Terrifier. I've only seen the kill counts of it. So I don't this could be the best movie I've ever fucking seen. I don't want him in because people do want him in. Editing Hamill here. I've since seen Terrifier. It's okay, nothing special. Nothing in the movie really made me think, oh, I really want him now. Maybe it would be different when I see Terrifier 2. My point still stands. If that makes sense. It's like he's the wall. I gotta put this all in because I'm stammering over my words, but he's the Waluigi of Dead by Daylight. You see so many people want him in, beg for him in. I don't want him in because it's funnier that way. Next, we have Bioshock. Bioshock is talked about a lot, and I skim over it because I assume people know, but I should probably explain. Some of these names are only here because they're on the satisfaction survey Dead by Daylight put out. Sometimes Dead by Daylight will put out this satisfaction survey, and they'll ask, "Hey, do you know these series?" So they kind of can gauge what their audience knows, because they don't want to do a crossover with a series that nobody knows, right? And because it's not going to sell, right? And strangely, Bioshock and System Shock has been on a lot of these lists. And as much as I like Bioshock, I wouldn't consider it horror, right? Dark themes, yes, but not scary. But the idea of being chased by a Big Daddy, that kind of scares me. Yes. Sadly, as much as I would want Big Daddy playable in Dead by Daylight, I can't see it happening. The iconic look is just too big for the killer frame. Like you have Nemesis, Nemesis had to be sized down, and like you can't change all the maps just because this guy's in it, right? Rapture would be a cool map underwater, all that jazz. I simply can't see it happening as much as I would want it. It's one of those, like, it's on the satisfaction story, so people keep saying, oh, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. And I think it's mostly because the size. Oh, the Big Daddy. Yeah, you can put the Big Daddy from Bioshock 2, but it's not as iconic, right? They'll be like, you put Jason Voorhees in, but you only put in the Baghead from from Friday 13th 1, right? It's just not. It doesn't make sense, right? Why would you do that? Next up is Carrie. I think Carrie is really cool. I love Carrie as a movie. I think it's fantastic. You know, the scene with the pig blood is iconic. It's been parodied to death. I love it. Maybe the younger people wouldn't know this, but like, they're all gonna laugh at you. Is just mwah, mwah, beautiful. Unfortunately, it's like Ringu, where like I don't think they could make this a character, but they could probably find a way. They could probably find a way to conjure up some bullshit, because in the movie, Carrie just kind of looks at things and things happen. It's not like she doesn't have like well-defined powers. It's just psychic, right? I would like it a lot, but I don't think it'll ever happen. And unfortunately, thinking about it more, I think Carrie kind of fell out of the zeitgeist. It wouldn't have an impact today as it would of like 10 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago. Do the kids know about Carrie? Like, comment, subscribe if you know about Carrie. Next up, I have Dark Souls. This is going to just be FromSoft in general. I'm just going to use that as one template. So this is your Dark Souls, this is your Elden Ring, this is your Bloodborne. I would love to see this as a cosmetic collection. Like, we have the Knight as a character, and it's an original character. Just give me like a legendary skin for, I don't know, the ball-bearing hunter or something. Give of Knightless Shrek, of the Chosen One, anything from any of these games would be so cool. Like, give Dwight like the Bloodborne hunter outfit or something. It would be so cool to get some medieval stuff. I'm a huge Dark Souls fan. I should probably start off with that. I'm a huge Dark Souls fan. I would love to see a bunch of cosmetics of one of my favorite games and another one of my favorite games. And I can definitely see it happening one day. Elden Ring is so high right now, and I would consider that, dark fantasy the same way like the Knight is dark fantasy, D&D, Lara Croft. If those fit in, I think Dark Souls fits in as well. I have Dead Meat here. If you're a horror fan, you've probably come across Dead Meat probably through Kill Count. Kill Count is a great YouTube series where they go through a movie, they count up all the kills, they say their favorite. They talk about the behind the scenes a lot. That's what I really like about it. And people have talked about adding the host of Kill Count, James A. Janice, as a playable character. Because one day he got asked on stream, he's like, hey, it would be cool to put you in Dead by Daylight. And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? I think this needs some context. There was a Dead by Daylight creator called Puppers who had ALS, and he lost all of his functions and sadly passed away. So he was a really positive guy, and I think they still do Light in the Fog every year to raise awareness of ALS and everything like that. When he was diagnosed, a lot of people went to behavioral, went, hey, it would be really cool to get a shirt for Puppers because, he is going to pass. ALS has 100% fatality rate, if I'm right. So it would be really cool to have a shirt for him, and they said no. If they would say no to a dying man, I don't think they would make James A. Janice, someone who admittedly doesn't play the game, a playable character. As much as I would want, like a Dead Meat shirt or something, like if they're doing like a charity event, that'd be awesome. He's like, oh yeah, every proceed of the Dead Meat shirt goes to this cool charity or something like that. I don't think it will ever happen. Like, people have said, make James A. Janice a survivor, put a Dead Meat shirt in. It would be cool. I'll put that in I want but won't happen because of the explanation, right? I think that makes sense. Frank West from Dead Rising. I had to stop myself. I'm playing Dead Island last week. I keep that in. That's dumb. with the remake coming out, I would love to see Frank West as a solo survivor. Do I think it would happen? It's possible. If you don't know, Dead Rising is made by Capcom, which also made Resident Evil, and they just love Resident Evil. If you don't know, Resident Evil also had one of their highest player counts at the time with the release of Nemesis, and they've gone back and added a lot of cosmetics for those characters. So if Capcom wants to make some money, I think Frank West Solo Survivor would be real cool for next year. Maybe I have bias because he is my personal dream pick for a Solo Survivor, but I had to put some fun stuff in here for me. Speaking of fun stuff, next up we have the Ghostbusters, which is another one that's brought up a lot. I think it would be really fun to have a Ghostbusters cosmetic collection. Not a solo survivor, but like just give like the original Ford the Ghostbusters suit and like have a Proton pack on their back. That would be a lot of fun, make a few bucks. I don't know how Ghostbusters is with licensing. I don't ever remember seeing like a Ghostbusters crossover ever. But they have revitalized the franchise a good few times recently. So, maybe it'll happen one day. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I'm just a dude on the internet. Who cares? And I'm actually going to be moving up one of the... There we go. I'm going to be moving up one of the guys in the back here because I think this goes in the same vein to an extent. Scooby-Doo is also a franchise people have been saying would fit like a glove in Dead by Daylight, and it makes sense. Scooby-Doo is technically horror for kids, so it would make sense to have him in the quote-unquote Hall of Fame of horror. Sadly, I don't think Warner Bros. Wants to see Shaggy getting eviscerated. So as much as I would love to see like a cosmetic collection of Scooby-Doo, it's never going to happen, guys. It's a kids franchise. It's never going to happen. Next up, we have The Fisherman from I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think the hook is super iconic in horror, even though it's like Carrie in the sense where it kind of fell to the wayside in the last few years. Because, I think the meme car through a hook hand is more iconic nowadays than the actual raincoat killer from I Know What You Did Last Summer. And in the same vein as Patrick Bateman here, spoilers for I Know What You Did Last Summer, it's just a dude. It's just a guy. There is no zombie powers until the third one, by the way. Don't watch that movie. That movie fucking sucks. Maybe when they're out of ideas, they might bring in the fisherman, but I don't think I Know What You Did Last Summer is ever going to happen, at least not anytime soon. Here's a character I think that actually has a lot of potential. Pennywise from It. I know the thought of, we already have a clown killer. Listen, Pennywise is a little bit more than that. He's a fucking alien spider thing. That movie is weird. I don't want to think about it. But with the recent movies and him coming back into prominence, I can definitely see Pennywise being a solo killer in the nearish future. I don't know if there's more movies on the way. It's not something I really look into. I'm not a huge fan of it. I just kind of enjoy its zeitgeist. My biggest thing I would want is a classic skin. The main thing I would want is the original Tim Curry It as a skin. That would be sweet. Give me that. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna move him the full chapter because I could definitely see the sewers being a map, as well as one of the kids. Maybe you do a Silent Hill situation where you have one of the kids as the main survivor, and then you have skins for the other kids. Forgive me, I actually don't know their names because I don't really like it too much. Don't read the book. It's really creepy. Stephen King, you need help, buddy. Speaking of really creepy, I'm going to be really blunt with this one. Jeepers Creepers can fuck off. This guy is brought up in every single conversation about Dead by Daylight DLC, and it pisses me off. Because if you don't know, the director of Jeepers Creepers is a PDF file. Yeah. Not rumored, not canceled, not, he had a Discord message with an underage person once. No, he made CP, brother. I don't want this fucking slimy fingers on my favorite game. Fuck off and die. Why the fuck did I put... Why'd I do this? Why'd I do this? Who did this? Another conversation that's brought up every single time we talk about DLC is Bruce the Shark from Jaws. From Jazz? Jazz? I'm putting this all in. I ain't fucking recording this. They're not gonna flood every map and just have Jaws floating around. Fuck off. I think it would be really funny to have a skin for like Billy or something where he's like being eaten by a shark as a little reference, but no, I don't think Jaws is gonna be playable in Dead by Daylight. Oh, Jesus Christ. So I have Chainsaw Man as the picture here, but I'm more putting this as a representation of anime in general, because after they did the Attack on Titan crossover, we haven't seen a single other anime crossover. And something I didn't know until recently, that's the most like interactions they got on Twitter for a long time was the Attack on Titan crossover announcement. I don't know much about Chainsaw Man, but I know it's mentioned a lot with Dead by Daylight, probably because obviously the main character, he's the man with the chainsaw, and one of the main characters of Dead by Daylight, or one of the free killers, is Hillbilly, a man with a chainsaw. So it kind of makes sense to do, make the man with the chainsaw the man with the chainsaw. I would love to see more anime crossovers, and I'm going to put it in cosmetics because I don't think I want an anime killer per se, right? I don't think there's many anime horror movies that would fit that bill. I remember a lot of people talking about Perfect Blue, and I love Perfect Blue, but I don't even think Perfect Blue would kind of fit that criteria. Maybe as cosmetics, but I just, in general, give me more anime crossovers. Speaking of which, Junji Ito, same thing here. I have this picture to represent Junji Ito as a whole. Junji Ito is an iconic mangaka artist that does a lot of horror and dark theming. They have countless memorable horror designs I would love to see as cosmetics. There was a recent rumor that there is going to be another mangaka, another anime, what have you, cosmetic crossover that's going to make a lot of people happy soon. The big two being Junji Ito or Death Note. I think that would be both cool. Again, stick to cosmetics. I think it would be really cool. Junji Ito in particular would be really cool if you made all their skins black and white, or at least one of them black and white, to represent the ink and paper of a mangaka. Of a manga. Mangaka is the artist. I'm tired. I have 50 of these, man. Oh my god. And so here's the self-indulgent part of this series. I have 3 of my favorite shits right back to back. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Give me that as cosmetics. I love JoJo. It kind of has a bit of a horror theming, especially in the early parts, where it deals a lot of vampires and whatnot. Trickster, I am convinced they were inspired by Dio. If you don't know, there's an iconic scene near the end of part 3 where Dio throws a bunch of knives at Jotaro. It's an iconic scene in anime. It's been parodied and referenced a lot. And I honestly think that Trickster was at least influenced by that. So it would be really cool to see like Trickster get a Dio skin, or I've seen people say, oh, give Ghostface a Kira skin because he's kind of like a creepy stalker. That would be cool. I would love to see JoJo in this game. I don't think it will happen, but I'm going to stick it in the cosmetics because these 3 animes are just kind of like one big entry for me. Just give me a lot of other stuff other than movies and games. I would love to see that. And here's one for me. If you know me, I love wrestling, and I would love to see 2 of my favorite things cross over. It's not going to happen, but I want it, right? I thought about this too much, thinking about if they had a Michael Myers skin where you're just Undertaker. Instead of the iconic Halloween stinger, you hear Undertaker's gong go off, and Tombstone piece can just be a Tombstone pole driver. How fucking sick that would be! I also always wanted The Fiend as a playable character. Sadly, the wrestler portraying him passed away fairly recently, within the last year or so. Rest in peace, Random Rotunda. And I have the Metallica M here, but like the Chainsaw Man, and this is just representing, as a whole, the music stuff. Because Slipknot happened, Iron Maiden happened, and Iron Maiden skin's some of the best in the game, in my opinion. And we just haven't heard anything since. I think one of the devs once said, "Oh yeah, we're going to be doing more music crossovers." Then tell us about it, right? Metallica's a band that keeps getting brought up, probably because it's just how iconic they are. Not to mention they just did a crossover with Fortnite, so they don't mind selling their soul for a little bit of money. I think they have a lot of iconic albums you can get a lot of mileage from. And Justice for All Nurse would be cool. A Ride the Lightning Doctor or something. I think that would be really cool. Again, I'm putting this here as more of a music in general. I would love to see more music stuff be represented. Another band I keep seeing mentioned is Disturbed with their iconic character, the guy, which is the big smirky guy on a lot of their albums. I don't know too much about Disturbed because I don't listen too much to Disturbed, so I don't know too much about the guy. But apparently he's an icon. Cool. And after going through three things that I just want because I like, here's one that I think a lot of people put on a lot of lists just because they like it a lot. With Marvel and DC, I think I'm going to lump them both in because I have the same thoughts about them. Just because you like something doesn't mean it kind of fits. Yes, there are horror elements in Marvel comics and in DC comics. When I was putting this picture together, the first thought that came to mind was, Scarecrow would actually be a really cool killer in this game. But I don't think it's going to happen. And I think it's mostly because of too big of an IP. It's too much money is going around. Marvel's doing an entire chapter with Fortnite, and I'm sure that's going to make billion dollars. Well, why would they lower to Dead by Daylight in the nicest way? Listen, I'm not making controversial opinions saying that Dead by Daylight isn't as popular as Fortnite. It's just not. Full stop. Here's something that I don't have to beat around the bush with. Oh, Wednesday. Why do people want Wednesday in Dead by Daylight? Why? My brother's in Christ. She's 16. They're not gonna have a 16-year-old get decapitated. Like, get the fuck out of here. Wednesday is one of those series that is mentioned on the satisfaction survey a lot. I think that's where this started, and I hope that's where it started, and I hope that where it ends too. Because I also fucking hate the series. The series sucks. I don't know why people like it. I don't think she'll appear in this game ever. I don't even think as a cosmetic. It just doesn't fit. It's like Scooby Doo, where like maybe it would be cool, but I don't fucking want it. Here's one that has a lot of conversations around it is Jurassic Park. I think Jurassic Park is more horror than people remember it to be. It is kind of actiony, like it's cool T-Rex, and that's all people remember about it. But it's scary at times, man. The big thing being like, how do you make a dinosaur work? And I think the answer is easy. Make it a raptor. Raptors are about human size, so you can make it about human size. And it would make sense that a raptor would be, hunting something. It's a clever girl, after all. There's also a lot of rumors saying that this might have been the IP that was lost that they mentioned in that one interview, which would be a damn shame because I want to play as a raptor. Let me play as a raptor. That said, I don't think it will ever happen. If it was the one that was lost or not, I think Jurassic Park is more of a sterilized series nowadays. If you watch those newer movies, it's very tame. It's not very horror, it's more actiony. And I don't think they would want to show, hey, look at this raptor eating someone alive, as much as I would want it. I have a clicker from Last of Us. I don't really care for Last of Us. I'll be real with you. And as much as I would say, want to kick my feet, I'm like, I don't think it would happen, but I don't want it, but it'll probably happen. I just don't think it would happen. And I think it's mostly because of licensing. If you don't know, Last of Us is PlayStation exclusive. If you're a fan of series exclusively from the show, it's only on PlayStation. You can't get it on PC, not Xbox. And if you don't know, Dead by Daylight's on everything. So if they add a chapter, it's not going to be PlayStation exclusive. And I think that's a big thing that holds it back. I think Sony just wants to keep it held really close. Next up, we have the forgotten horror icon, Leprechaun. Nobody remembers Leprechaun. Nobody ever talks about these movies because most of them suck. How many times can you go to the hood, my brother? Just to know you're watching. Fuck you, buddy. I don't want Leprechaun. Um, do I technically put this in cosmetic because there is a Leprechaun skin for Blight, but like not licensed? I don't know. I think it would be cool as a solo killer. I'm gonna put him as solo killer because I can actually see them doing a Leprechaun thing, maybe in like a year or two, especially where they're experimenting with especially where they're experimenting with third-person camera more often, with Chucky and now with Dracula. I can see them doing like a short Leprechaun dude, and if they do ever add him, he would be really fun for Mori. There's so many iconic kills in Leprechaun, namely the pogo stick. I would want the pogo stick kill as his Mori. I can see him as a solo killer. I've turned myself around. I like Leprechaun now. Before I go on, spoilers for Malignant. If you haven't seen Malignant, stop the video and watch it now, or skip ahead, because legitimately, I'm going to spoil the best twist ever. Next up, we have Gabriel from Malignant. If you watch Malignant, you know that Gabriel is actually on the back of the head of the main character, and he kind of overtakes the main character and makes them kill. I think this would fucking rule as a killer, man. He got that iconic gold weapon. He creepy the way he walks backwards. You would have to figure out what his power is, but I don't think that is an issue. And I think a lot of people really like this movie, so I hope it's iconic as I think it is. I don't talk to many people, so maybe this is just a flash in the pan thing that only I remember, but I fucking love this movie and I love this character. I think they would fit perfectly in this game. Here's one that won't fit perfectly in this game, Solid Snake. I'm in a weird middle ground with this because people debate that Dead by Daylight is mostly a stealth game, and if you play Dead by Daylight as mostly a stealth game, I don't want you in my lobby. You're boring, I don't like you. But since Konami works with Dead by Daylight a lot, I've seen people say, oh man, it would be cool to have Solid Snake. People are going to comment, this probably isn't Solid Snake, I don't care. Like this is just Metal Gear as a whole. You can have like a Solid Snake Survivor and have like Naked Snake, Liquid Snake, Gas Snake, White Snake. I don't care. I don't think it's gonna happen. It would be cool, but I don't think it's gonna happen. And here's one I really want. I'm gonna preemptively put him in cosmetic. If you don't know, Nightmare on Elm Street is in Dead by Daylight already, but it's the shitty remake that nobody cares about. This is because at the time, the remake Nightmare on Elm Street was not owned by the same company as the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Nowadays it is. So hopefully maybe one day when they renegotiate the rights to that, they nudge them and go, "Hey, what's Robert Englund doing nowadays?" Even if it's just a skin with no dialogue, I would still love just to have a Robert Englund skin. Maybe a new Nightmare skin. You can add weapons from the iconic kills, like Dream Warriors, the Needle Hands. I would love that as a weapon skin. I don't care if I have to pay 20 bucks, 60 bucks, 100 bucks. I want to play as Robert Englund Freddy so bad. Please. I have Pearl here, but I'm putting her as the entire series, X, Pearl, and Maxine. I recently watched Maxine, and that movie is fucking phenomenal. Highly recommended. The early scene in the alleyway made me jump out of my seat. If you know, you know. I've seen people say that they want Pearl as a killer, and again, it's just a person with a weapon. They don't have any powers. They have iconic look, the red dress and the big smile, but I don't think that's enough to be a killer. I kind of want it. I would like a Pearl cosmetic, maybe. Maybe for Huntress. I'm sure Huntress. Actually, Huntress already has a red dress. You can just cosplay. Fuck you. I really like these movies, but I don't think Pearl fits Dead by Daylight. Again, dude with weapon. Here's one that people thought we've been going to get for a while now is Predator. Predator, give him the full chapter. You could have Duke, you could have Jesse Ventura. Maybe you can't get Arnold Schwarzenegger's likeness, but it would be so cool to have Predator. Maybe have a very thick jungle environment. It's Predator. It's fucking Predator. You could do like a whole ass like event or battle pass where it's Alien versus Predator because you already have a Xenomorph in the game. You can add different Predator skins. You can have him with or without the mask. You can have the arm cannon. You can have the one from Prey. There's so much you can do with the Predator, and I'm genuinely surprised he isn't already in the game. That you gotta give him the full suit. You gotta give him everything. Predator, easy. Moving on. Here's one I'm very torn on is Norman Bates from Psycho. You might not know the name Psycho, especially if you're younger, but you know Psycho. You've seen someone parody the knife up in the shower and the tin, 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 tin. You've seen it before, 100%. That's what this comes from. As much as I would love to see this as like a full chapter, get the full treatment, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. He falls into just dude with a weapon category. He wouldn't even hurt a fly. Come on, guys. I wish they did maps exclusively as crossovers, just so it can have the Bates Motel as a map. I don't need Norman Bates as a killer. I don't need a survivor from the movie. I honestly can't even remember their name. I would want to just kill in the Bates Motel. And as I'm saying this, I have an idea. I'm going to put in I want but won't happen, and I'm going to move down a few rows because I have the Universal monsters right here. I have Frankenstein and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, we already have cosmetics referencing these iconic monsters. I have Boris Karloff's Frankenstein there and the Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's Creature from the Black Lagoon. And these are already referenced in the game. And I was going to have a whole spiel about, I don't think these guys will, but I have the Wolfman here. And, the wolf, if you didn't know, those iconic monsters, you have Dracula, Frankenstein, Black Lagoon, Wolfman, those iconic monsters, they're Universal monsters made by their iconic appearance from Universal. And if you didn't know, the Bates Motel is on Universal. It's all the same stuff. So my thought is, you give these guys cosmetics. You have an actual Frankenstein instead of Dr. Frankenstein. That is the Doctor from Dead by Daylight. Okay, I'm confusing myself here. Ow, brain hurty. You give these guys skins. You make the Wolfman a killer, and you make a full chapter, and you have the map be Universal Studios. You go through a green screen, you can go on a backlot, and you have the Bates Motel there as main. That would be fucking sweet. Call up Universal right now, see what they're doing. Why do people keep wanting Keanu Reeves in this game? I get that Nicolas Cage kind of opened the door to just having random actors as characters instead of people that they're playing, but it's just weird to me. Oh yeah, John Wick is also on the satisfaction survey, so that could be a big reason. John Wick's on the satisfaction survey, but I put Keanu Reeves here as just Keanu Reeves because people keep saying they just want Keanu Reeves. They're fucking weird. I don't want just random people. I don't want just random people lined up on Dead by Daylight. Nicolas Cage was cool as a one-off. I don't want this to become a trend. So I'm going to put in I don't think will happen because I don't want it to happen. I don't want this to become a trend. I know it might be hard to see, but I have Lady Dimitrescu, Mr. X, and Jack Baker there from Resident Evil. Put these all together as just another Resident Evil chapter. I don't think we'll ever get another full Resident Evil chapter unless they want really promote Resident Evil 9, which I know is in development. But more or less, I want them to do more cosmetics. If you remember when they randomly dropped William Birkin as a Blightskin, that was fucking awesome. Do that again. More times, please. It would be fucking sweet. Give me a Mr. X Nemesis. Oh, but he doesn't use the tentacle. I don't care. Give me, I don't know, give me a Nemesis. Make all these three dudes Nemesis. I don't care. Just give me more legendary skins like that. I think that's really cool and a really cool way to put these characters who I don't think would need an entire chapter to be represented. Put them in the game anyways. Here's one that's been in conversation a lot recently because of a little strange occurrence that happened on YouTube. Someone made an SCP video and it was sponsored by Dead by Daylight. I think that was just a weird coincidence, but SCP is a weird one to put in because I don't know too much about it. I try to avoid things I know nothing about. I at least have a touch information on a lot of these subjects, but like SCP is just a group writing experiment, ain't it? Like it's just like it's like a fake Wikipedia. You know, anybody can write an SCP. It's like a creepypasta, right? Like someone correct me, please, because so I don't know how this would be a thing. Like I would put it in cosmetics, but is there even iconic like looks to SCPs? Like I know one's like a plague doctor. I know that one's very popular. There's that one with the like wolf face that people draw a lot of porn of. That's fucking weird. I don't know. Why even save this picture? I don't think SCP will happen because it would be a copywriting nightmare. So let's move on. You know, you'd think I would say the same thing about this guy, but it's actually pretty simple. I think Sony owns the copyrights to Slender Man now, and as much as that movie sucks, I actually do want Slender Man as a solo killer. This is a guilty pleasure of mine. It's one of those, this would be stupid, but I want it because it would be stupid. I think Slender Man's one of those early internet things that I think needs a bit more love because the original stuff is very scary. It's just got taken over by a bunch of kids, and it kind of has the stink to it now of low effort, low quality, early writers taking their own jab at it. Maybe that's why I don't like SCP. If I keep that in, people are gonna be mad. Nobody's watching this video, who cares? But yeah, give me a Slenderman killer. Let me collect his pages, please. Next up, we have Hannibal from Silence of the Lambs. I actually recently rewatched Silence of the Lambs, and that movie is great. I forgot how good it is. But the thing is, Hannibal isn't a traditional killer. He is creepy. He does some creepy things, but he's not like, I can't see him running around chasing people. Like that's not what he does. I think it would be cool to have like the straight jacket and mask, maybe for like a doctor cosmetic, but I don't think it would ever happen. I don't think. Next up, we have Happy Death Day, and I fucking hate this movie. Go away. I don't know why this is mentioned on like every Dead by Daylight, wish list. Like, this movie fucking sucks. I hate this theme of horror movies. I think they're all Blumhouse. Correct me if I'm right. If I'm wrong, sorry. Don't correct me if I'm right. I've been doing this for over an hour now. Oh my god. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of these movies of, oh, what if it was Freaky Friday, but it was horror? Oh, what if it was Groundhog Day, but it was horror? These all come from Blumhouse, and they all fucking suck, in my opinion. Also, this dumb baby mask is dumb and stupid. Fuck off. I think Blumhouse has everything wrong with horror nowadays. Speaking of everything wrong with horror nowadays, Megan. This is another one that I see a lot of people talk about, and I'm going to rant and rave because I actually didn't know too much about Megan before making this video, and I was like, Megan's mentioned so often, I'm going to have to know something about them to put them on this list. I think this is everything wrong with horror, where you just do something stupid, it gets trendy, and you compromise your artistic vision to pander to that. If you didn't know, Megan was originally supposed to be an R-rated flick, but that stupid fucking TikTok dance got popular, and they had to make it a PG-13 movie so those stupid TikTok kids can fucking watch it. I don't think Megan is scary. I think it's creepy at times, sure, but it's not. It's, fuck off, fuck off. I don't get out of here. I don't like you. If you want a machine killer, I do too. Singularity doesn't exist. That's why I want Terminator, and I want it as a full chapter. Editing Hamwell here. At this point in the video, I mixed up Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sarah Connor from the Terminator series. I've been yapping for over an hour, and my brain was just melted at this point. What I meant here is to have the Terminator T-1000 or T-2000 as the killer, have Sarah Connor as survivor, and you can just have a random war zone as the map. Alright, back to me yapping. But I think Terminator would fit like a glove, and I am to this day angry that the Skull Merchant tease is not Terminator. Imagine all the shit you could do. You can have the exoskeleton like it is in the picture. You would have Arnold Schwarzenegger's T-1000. You can have the T-2000 with the liquid nitrogen stuff. There's a lot you can do with the Terminator. I think it would be really fucking cool, and I think it would fit like a glove. More actiony than horror, but again, if Lara Croft and D&D can fit in this game, so can the Terminator. Coming back around to horror, we have The Shining. The Shining is my favorite movie, period. I don't think anything can top The Shining. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I don't see this as a Stephen King thing. This is a Kubrick thing. I would love this as a full chapter. You get Jack Torrance as a killer, you get the Overlook, and you can get adult Andy as a survivor. You know, tie it in with Doctor Sleep in that way. Maybe you can even make the Overlook like desolate like it is in Doctor Sleep. I think, I'm gonna put it full chapter. Give me The Shining full chapter. The Strangers fucking suck. I don't understand why people like this franchise. Why the fuck is this a franchise? If it was one movie depicting random violence because of random choice, that would actually be kind of cool. You have just a movie that comes and goes that is random violence. And I think that would make it even more impactful because there's no reason for their home invasion. If you watch the movie The Strangers, there's never a reason. It's just because you were there. And if you made one movie like that, it would make sense. But there's like 3 or 4 of these now, right? The most recent one I watched in theaters, and it was god fucking awful. I don't think anyone in that theater had a good time. Fuck The Strangers, watch them go. The Thing, he was one that is sadly going to go into the I want but won't happen category. I think it's solely a gameplay perspective on this. The Thing is so cool, but its entire thing, but its entire thing is mimicking. You never know who around you is going to be the Thing. And I don't think that works in Dead by Daylight, where, having 3 of your friends in a voice call, you go, hey, are you coming at me? No. That's a killer then. It just doesn't work. I don't think it works in this sense. Maybe in like a 2v8 it would work a lot better, but if you make a killer that only works in 2v8, then why the fuck are you making the killer? Next up we have The Walking Dead, and I think Walking Dead is going to happen. I think it's going to be a solo survivor, so I'm going to put it in solo. The big rumor right now is that AMC has already approached Behavior asking if they can get The Walking Dead in the game, and they simply said, listen, we already have the year booked up, we'll put you on the back burner. So I think late 2025, you're going to see The Walking Dead appear in Dead by Daylight. I don't think this is if it's going to happen, I think it's when it's going to happen. I'll put it in solo because I don't think there's many villains it can really use as a killer. Maybe Negan with his barbaro baseball bat, but like, I don't care, man. I don't like The Walking Dead, if that wasn't clear. I only got 4 left. I can do this. I can do this. Let's go. Let's go. Until Dawn. Until Dawn is mentioned a lot with Dead by Daylight, especially recently because of pairing up with Supermassive Games to make the Frank Stone game. But I don't think Until Dawn will ever get its chapter in Dead by Daylight. I'm gonna put in. I don't think will happen because I'm not a huge fan of Until Dawn. And also, there was a big stink when Unknown was getting revealed. People thought it was going to be a Skinwalker or a Wendigo. If you don't know, Wendigos and Skinwalkers are very tied to indigenous folklore, and you're not even supposed to say the names of those things, let alone show them. It's a bit insensitive. To put it simply, it's not okay. Like, there'll be a lot of spit up about it. And Dead by Daylight themselves has said that they have no intentions of doing anything like that. So I think simply Until Dawn isn't going to happen. Maybe they'll have skins for the characters in the game one day, but I don't know. I think that boat came and left, really. Next, we have Vecna. People wanted Stranger Things Part 2 for a long time because Stranger Things Part 1 got removed. And the idea of them bringing back Stranger Things was a very hot topic for a lot of people. They wanted the demo going back, they wanted Nancy and Steve back, and they were like, oh, what if we added even more characters? I'm not a huge fan of Stranger Things. I haven't watched the series. I just hasn't been on my radar. So when people started screaming they wanted Vecna, half of me thought, oh, you just want the character so you can get all the Stranger Things stuff back. But now that it's back, people still want them, so sure. I'm going to put that in full chapter. I can see them double dipping now that they're friendly with Netflix again, especially with Castlevania coming, and a lot of the Castlevania stuff looks like it's from the animated series from Netflix. So I can see them playing nice one day and, getting Stranger Things Chapter 2, you get some more characters, maybe with the finale that's coming up soon. I don't know, man. It'd be cool. Candyman, give me Tony Todd, please. That silky smooth voice on my screen every day. Please, please, please. Candyman is an iconic slasher that got pushed aside for movies that just kept being made. I can't focus on Candyman when there's 7 Friday the 13ths, when there's 10 Nightmare on Elm Streets. Candyman's a great movie, and even the new one is actually really good. I would highly recommend it, even though I think its themes of race relations would kind of fall in Dead by Daylight. But that said, I want to shoot bees at people. I want to hit people with my hook hand. I want Tony Todd. Give me Candyman. Candyman. And last but not least, well, we already know this one's happening. Five Nights at Freddy's. And I'm going to say it's going to be a full chapter. Some dumb people think it's going to be a cosmetic collection. Let's be real. They're not going to spend a year to make a cosmetic collection. Especially where they said it's going to be summer 2025. It's most likely going to be the anniversary chapter. And I did a little research, and all the anniversary chapters outside of one has been a full chapter. The only outlier being Ghostface, and that's a big legal hullabaloo, so let's not look at that one right now. I'm so confident FNAF is going to get a full chapter that I'm going to predict the map, killer, and survivor right here. I think what they will do for this chapter is what they did for the Silent Hill chapter, where they have different parts of the series in different parts. If you don't know, the Silent Hill chapter had Silent Hill 1 as the map, Silent Hill 2 as the killer, and Silent Hill 3 as the survivor. For FNAF, I think your killer will be Springtrap, representing FNAF 3. I think your map will be the Pizzaplex from Security Breach, and I think your survivor will probably be the main character for the movie. I think it was Mike Schmidt, or maybe even Vanessa. So I think that's what we're going to get here. And of course they can do more cosmetics where like Vanny I think Vanny would fit well as a Legion cosmetic. or you're gonna have a Freddy Fazbear Trapper or something. There's a lot to do with this franchise, and I think it's gonna get the full chapter treatment because they would be dumb if they didn't. You know how much money they're gonna make off of this? They make so much money. So there it is, 50 licenses ranked on what I think they would be in Dead by Daylight. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. I'm gonna go take a nap.